The stadium was shaking long before the final out, but the moment that camera light flickered on backstage, something felt wrong, too quiet, too calm, almost as if the baseball gods were holding their breath. Inside the bowels of the Rogers Center, the hallway lights hummed with an eerie buzz, echoing through the concrete walls as if the building itself understood what was about to happen. This wasn't just another night. This was the night everything would change. You could feel it in the footsteps of the Dodgers players, each one pacing, stretching, whispering, trying to steady hands that had never shaken before. Game 7 had a way of stripping legends down to the bone. When the door to the dugout cracked open, a wave of blue poured out into the noise, tens of thousands of fans roaring like a storm crashing into steel. But in the middle of that chaos, the Dodgers walked with an icy stillness, as if the noise couldn't touch them. Somewhere above the diamond, a camera caught Mookie Betts closing his eyes, murmuring something nobody could hear. Maybe a prayer, maybe a promise. Clayton Kershaw stood near the railing, hands on his knees, staring out like a man trying to memorize everything, the color of the lights, the taste of the air, the smell of the dirt, because this was his last shot at immortality. On the other side, the Blue Jays were bouncing, leaning, shouting, trying to seize the energy of a city that hadn't tasted a title in decades. Toronto felt destined, scripted, chosen. But destiny doesn't win baseball games. Grit does. Pain does. Madness does. When the first pitch cracked into the catcher's mitt, it echoed like thunder. Even the crowd paused for half a second, unsure whether to gasp or scream. Every swing felt heavier. Every foul ball felt like a warning. Every pitch felt like it carried years of heartbreak, frustration, and unfinished business on its seams. By the fourth inning, sweat was dripping like rain off the Dodgers' caps. The Blue Jays had the lead. The fans sensed blood. Inside the dugout, you could feel the tension, silent, suffocating, electric. Teammates wouldn't even sit, they hovered, hands gripping the helmet rack, eyes locked on the field as if staring hard enough could change fate. Then came the moment that cracked the entire game open. A ground ball, a stumble, a throw that sailed too high, a run that shouldn't have scored, but did. Toronto erupted like a volcano. The Dodgers' dugout fell completely still. But champions don't die quietly. In the sixth inning, Freddie Freeman stepped up, jaw tight, eyes locked, bat heavy in his hands like a weapon forged for this exact moment. The pitch came in and, crack, everything changed. The ball soared into the Toronto sky like a star ripping across the night. Every Dodger in the dugout leapt. Every Blue Jays fan froze. And when it crashed into the right field seats, the stadium didn't just shake, it fractured. Suddenly, the Dodgers had life again. Real life. Dangerous life. Mookie followed with a single that felt bigger than a home run. Will Smith drove him in with a double that tore the momentum straight out of Toronto's hands. You could feel the entire city get nervous. The lead was gone. The silence began to creep in. By the eighth inning, the game was tied, but it didn't feel tied. It felt like fate was circling overhead, trying to choose a side. That's when Dave Roberts looked down the bench and nodded. Kershaw stood. It was impossible. It was insane. It was everything baseball is supposed to be. The legend walked out to the mound like a man stepping into the last chapter of his own story, the crowd raining down noise so loud it was almost invisible. The first pitch was a strike. The second was a slider that bent like a blade. The third, swing and miss. The roar from the Dodgers bench wasn't loud. It was primal. Kershaw fought through 3 batters, his arm trembling, his face burning red, but he didn't break. He didn't blink. He didn't step aside. When he walked off that mound, he didn't lift his head. He didn't need to. The stadium was doing it for him. The ninth inning felt like the world was shrinking. Each pitch was a drumbeat. Each breath was a countdown. Then it happened. A bloop single. A walk. A pitching change. A moment that smelled like heartbreak. But baseball doesn't follow fear. It follows courage. And courage came in the form of a young hitter who hadn't even been born when the Dodgers last hoisted that trophy. He stepped in, swallowed hard, and stared down a city, a nation, a history. The pitch came inside. He turned on it. Crack. The ball shot into left field, skipping past the diving outfielder, rolling all the way to the wall as 2 Dodger runners flew around the bases like lightning tearing across the sky. The dugout exploded. Helmets flew. Players screamed. Cameras shook. The Dodgers had the lead. No, the Dodgers had the moment. All that was left was 3 outs. 3 impossible, tortuous, excruciating outs. The Jays didn't go quietly. A single dropped. A walk followed. A hush spread across the stadium that felt like a final breath. Then came the pitch of the century. A slider low and away. A desperate swing. A ground ball to third. The throw across the diamond seemed to travel in slow motion, twisting through the lights, cutting through the roar, carrying the weight of every year the Dodgers had fallen short. The ball smacked into Freddie Freeman's glove. Silence. Then the world cracked open. The Dodgers stormed the field, bodies flying, blue jerseys colliding, players crying, screaming, clutching each other like survivors pulled from a wreckage. Somewhere in the chaos, the raw camera footage caught Mookie Betts sinking to his knees, hands over his face, laughing and sobbing at the same time. Freeman lifted his arms to the sky, as if thanking every force that had tried to break him and failed. Kershaw was found in the middle of it all, hugged so tightly by teammates he could barely breathe. His eyes glistened with something deeper than tears, release. Toronto watched in heartbreak, but even they knew they had witnessed something unforgettable. The Dodgers had climbed the mountain, fought the demons, shattered the doubts, and done it on the road, in a foreign city, under impossible pressure. And as the champagne sprayed and the cameras rolled, someone near the dugout whispered the perfect final line into a live mic. Tonight, baseball didn't just crown a champion. It crowned a story. A story that will be told forever. A story that reminds every dreamer watching. When the world says you can't. And the odds say you won't. And the past tells you you've failed. There is always one more pitch. One more swing. One more moment that can change everything. And for the Dodgers, this was that moment.